Have you ever wondered if something as natural and private as masturbation could be quietly harming you as you get older? It's a topic most men avoid, but after 65, what used to bring comfort and release can start to affect your energy, your intimacy, and even your health in ways you might not realize. In this video, we're going to dive into the hidden mistakes older men commonly make when it comes to self-pleasure. These aren't just about the physical act. They're about how it impacts your body, mind, and future. We'll uncover the subtle shifts in your body that you might be overlooking, and how one simple change could make a world of difference in protecting your vitality, your relationship, and your overall well-being. Stay with me until the end, and I'll show you how to make those crucial adjustments that could give you more energy, improve your intimacy, and even save your health. This isn't about shame, it's about awareness. Whether you're feeling more depleted than fulfilled or you've been noticing changes in your body, this video will give you the insight you need to take charge of your health and reclaim your vitality. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. Now that we've uncovered why this conversation holds such profound significance after the age of 65, let's delve into the first and most common mistake, one that stealthily begins when we stubbornly cling to the illusion that our bodies haven't changed. Ignoring how your body has shifted after 65 is a trap that many fall into, especially when it comes to deeply ingrained habits, such as masturbation. As men grow older, it's easy to continue treating our bodies as if they still operate the same way they did when we were in our 40s or 50s. We fall into the same routines, carry on at the same pace, and hold on to habits, believing they have not evolved with time. The truth is, they have. I understand the temptation to keep believing that we are still the same. It's comforting, even reassuring, to tell ourselves that our bodies haven't changed, that we can still function in the same way. But, as someone with over 3 decades of experience in men's health, let me share an undeniable truth. Your body at 65 speaks a different language. Circulation slows. Hormone levels dip. Recovery time extends. Even the skin and nerve tissues, which once seemed so resilient, now feel delicate, fragile. These changes occur not with a loud, jarring alarm but quietly, without fanfare, like a whisper you can barely hear. And that's the danger. You don't hear the warning signs, so you continue with your old habits, until one day, something feels off. You're more tired than usual. Your sleep quality dives. You feel mentally flat, emotionally numb. At first, you can't figure it out. There's no obvious reason. You haven't had any significant lifestyle change. But what's happening is that your body's response to stimulation, something as private and long-standing as masturbation, is no longer serving you the way it once did. It's not just a matter of age. It's a matter of how your body is reacting to something it's done 1,000 times before. Take, for example, one of my patients, a 70-year-old former construction worker who once said, "I thought feeling drained afterward was just part of getting old." He was resigned to the idea that this exhaustion and lack of vitality were simply his new reality. But after a thorough hormone panel, nervous system assessment, and prostate exam, we discovered something crucial. His long-standing masturbation habit was interfering with his ability to recover, to regulate dopamine, and to maintain his sexual health. What seemed like a harmless, even comforting act had quietly become a silent drain on his body. This is why so many older men mistakenly ignore the signs of biological change. They confuse the warning signs of overexertion with the normal process of aging, when in reality, their bodies are silently crying out for a different approach. These private habits that once provided pleasure and relief may now be wearing down the very systems they depend on to feel vital, connected, and alive. Masturbation, in and of itself, is not the enemy. But repeating the same patterns at 68 that you did at 38? That can backfire in ways you never expected. If you've been feeling more depleted than fulfilled after self-pleasure, I urge you to listen to your body. It's not your imagination. It's not simply age catching up with you. It's your body signaling that it needs a change, a reset, a new rhythm that matches where you are in your life now. But the next mistake, even more common and deeply dangerous, takes this pattern even further. Too much frequency, too little recovery. This is a mistake I see all too often, and it's one that many older men make without even realizing it. We grow up believing that masturbation is a normal, even healthy part of our lives, without truly understanding the consequences of overindulgence. In our younger years, recovery was instant. A quick release before bed or during a stressful day felt like a simple, almost automatic reset. But after 65, that same habitual act begins to hit differently. It's a harsh reality, one many refuse to accept. I've seen this time and time again. A man in his late 60s or 70s comes to me, frustrated by chronic fatigue, low mood, and a sharp drop in libido. He's often confused, even ashamed. He'll ask, "Is this just old age?" But when we start talking about his habits, particularly masturbation, the story shifts. Masturbation, when done too frequently, quietly depletes your body's natural reserve. It exhausts your nervous system, temporarily lowers testosterone, and disrupts the delicate chemicals that keep you sharp, emotionally stable, and alive. Dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin, all of these vital chemicals are drained by excessive stimulation. What once felt like a harmless daily ritual now feels like a burden on your body's limited energy. The real issue, though, is that the older you get, the longer it takes for your body to rebuild those reserves. What once felt like a quick recovery now feels like a distant memory. And most men don't even connect the dots. Worse, when masturbation is used as an escape from loneliness, boredom, or stress, it can become an emotional crutch, not just a physical habit. Over time, your body becomes reliant on it, not because it serves you, but because it's the only thing that temporarily fills the void. Imagine it like a leaky faucet, slowly but surely draining your vitality. You might feel a fleeting moment of release, but then, hours later, the aftermath is heavy, foggy, and detached. Recovery isn't just a luxury, it's a matter of survival. After 65, your body needs longer breaks between stimulations. It needs rhythm, patience, and respect. Overuse doesn't just dull your physical response. It eventually dulls your very sense of self. But there's a deeper mistake yet, one that cuts to the core of what truly impacts your emotional and physical well-being. It's not just about frequency or how often you engage in the act. It's about how you do it. And that, my friend, can quietly reshape the way your brain and body respond to true intimacy. Let's explore this next. For men over 65, rushing through something as intimate and personal as masturbation isn't just unfulfilling, it's deeply damaging, both physically and emotionally. At this stage of life, your body doesn't respond to urgency the way it used to. Speed and intensity, which might have once fueled a sense of pleasure or release, now act as silent saboteurs. What your aging body truly craves is gentleness, patience, and mindfulness. It needs you to slow down, not out of weakness but out of wisdom. When you rush the act, even unconsciously, you activate your body's stress response. Cortisol surges, blood pressure rises, pelvic floor muscles tense, and your nervous system becomes trapped in a fight-or-flight loop instead of relaxing into safety and pleasure. Instead of release, what follows is often lingering tightness, emotional flatness, and a subtle but growing sense of disconnection. What should have been a moment of joy becomes an invisible weight, pulling you away from your own body and from the possibility of a deeper emotional connection. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. But the cost doesn't stop there. When you treat your body like a machine, programmed to deliver quick gratification, it slowly stops responding the way it once did. Over time, arousal itself becomes linked with stress and speed rather than intimacy and presence. You begin to chase sensations, not connection. And that conditioning bleeds into every area of your emotional life. I once sat across from a 72-year-old man who looked down and quietly confessed, "I don't even think I feel anything anymore when I touch myself. I just do it." His voice carried years of silent struggle. That broke my heart. Because pleasure, real, soul-deep, body-softening pleasure, doesn't disappear after 65. It simply asks to be approached differently, more tenderly, more thoughtfully, with care instead of compulsion. This isn't about candlelight and poetry. It's about giving your body space to breathe, to respond naturally, to remember what safety and slowness feel like. When you rush, you rob yourself of that. And when you lose the ability to connect with yourself, you slowly erode your ability to connect with others. You become emotionally dulled, mentally foggy, and physically fatigued. Your nervous system never fully resets. Your sleep quality declines. Your energy vanishes. You're left with a body that feels more like a shell than a sanctuary. But here's something many don't realize. The next mistake is even more misunderstood, and in some ways, even more damaging. It's not about technique. It's not about speed. It's about timing. And when you get the timing wrong, especially after 65, you're working directly against your body's natural rhythm, which can throw your whole system off track. Let me explain. If you're still here and finding this information helpful, go ahead and drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're still listening and learning. Now, let's move forward to something few people talk about, but every man needs to know. At first glance, timing might seem irrelevant. After all, masturbation is private, spontaneous, and personal. Why should it matter when you do it? But after 65, it matters more than you think. I've watched countless older men fall into patterns that seem innocent enough, using late-night release to help them fall asleep, or starting the morning with a quick session to get the day going. Familiar, routine, easy, but deceptively costly. Let's talk about nighttime first. You may believe that a quick release will help you wind down and fall asleep faster. But what happens inside your body tells a different story. That moment of climax triggers a short spike in adrenaline, followed by a rise in cortisol, the hormone responsible for stress and alertness. Instead of slipping into deep rest, your heart rate remains slightly elevated, your nervous system slightly agitated. You might drift off eventually, but your sleep won't be restorative. You'll wake up in the morning feeling just as tired, if not more, than when you lay down. Then there's the morning habit, which can be just as disruptive. Morning is when your body naturally experiences its highest surge of testosterone, preparing you to take on the day with energy, clarity, and drive. But when you ejaculate too early in the day, you short-circuit that natural rhythm. You might feel an immediate sense of relief, but the cost is steep. Your energy dips sooner, your emotional state feels dull, and your motivation fades just when you need it most. One retired teacher once told me, with quiet regret, "I always thought it helped me sleep better. But now I realize I've been waking up more exhausted than when I went to bed." That realization hit him like a wave. It wasn't the act itself that was wrong, it was the timing. Once we made small adjustments to his routine, everything shifted. His clarity returned. His emotional state lifted. He even told me that his dreams had come back, vivid, comforting, colorful. That was the turning point for him. The truth is, your body at this age runs on rhythm. The more you honor that rhythm, the more energy, clarity, and connection you'll reclaim. But the more you disrupt it, especially with mistimed self-pleasure, the more you'll feel drained, flat, and lost. And that brings us to a mistake that is even more insidious, because it doesn't just affect your body or your mood. It begins to rewire your brain. And unless you're aware of it, it can quietly reshape how you experience pleasure and connection on a deep, lasting level. It's becoming more and more common with each passing year, this silent struggle that too many older men face. Today, let's talk about something that needs to be addressed, something that has far-reaching implications: the reliance on porn as the only stimulus for arousal. This is one of the most prevalent, yet often overlooked, mistakes I see among older men. And here's the thing: it's not about how often you masturbate, nor is it even about the timing. No, it's about what you're using to feel aroused. Far too many men today, especially as they age, turn to screens. The allure of short videos, quick clips, and endless scrolling seems harmless at first, just a way to pass time, to get a fleeting sense of pleasure. But here's the danger. Over time, this seemingly innocent habit rewires the brain in ways most men don't even realize until the damage has already been done. What happens when you use porn as your primary source of stimulation is that you're not simply watching. No, you're teaching your brain to respond only to a fast-paced, exaggerated fantasy world. As you grow older, especially after the age of 65, this constant exposure to hyperstimulation starts to take its toll. Your brain, once attuned to the gentle, natural rhythms of intimacy, becomes desensitized. You need more and more to feel less and less. And real intimacy, true connection with another person, starts to feel dull, lackluster. The touch of your partner no longer excites you the way it once did. Even your imagination fades, replaced by a relentless craving for increasingly extreme visuals. I had a man in his 70s sit across from me, his hands cradling his weary head. "I can't connect with my wife anymore, Doc," he said, his voice tinged with frustration and sadness. "I want to. I just feel nothing." His words cut through me, not because he didn't love her. He did, deeply, but because years of built-up solo habits, driven by artificial screens, had gradually disconnected his mind from the warmth of real-life closeness. And it's not just about your sexual function, either. The consequences of excessive porn use at this stage in life extend far beyond the physical. It can lead to anxiety, disrupt sleep patterns, and even cause a sense of emotional isolation. You begin to lose the emotional balance that comes from healthy, grounded stimulation. What once brought comfort and relief now builds walls between you and your partner, between you and the deeper, more fulfilling intimacy that comes from being truly present. Let me be clear. This is not about shame. It's about awareness. It's about recognizing that the way you engage with pleasure, especially as you age, profoundly affects the way you experience the world. If that engagement becomes overly digital, overly artificial, your natural sensitivity, the very essence of what makes you feel alive, can start to fade. But here's the good news. There's hope. There is something simple, something powerful you can do to protect your energy, your intimacy, and your connection. It starts with one small change, a shift so subtle yet so impactful that it can change everything. After working with thousands of men over the age of 65, I've learned that the most powerful transformations don't always come from drastic changes or strict rules. Sometimes they come from a single, intentional decision to treat your body with more respect. It might sound easy, even trivial, but I've seen countless men completely transform their energy, their connection to others, and their entire outlook on aging just by making this one choice. Instead of rushing through the moment, they slow down. Instead of zoning out, they stay present. They put their phones away. They stop chasing after external stimulation and begin to listen to what their body truly needs. One retired firefighter told me, "I started lighting a candle, breathing deeper, just taking a few extra minutes. Sounds silly, but I feel more like a man now than I did at 40. It's not just the act of lighting a candle or taking a moment to breathe. It's the act of being mindful, of reconnecting with himself and with his body. That small, simple ritual helped reset his nervous system, restore the emotional charge that had been missing for so long, and over time, it improved his sleep, his energy, and his mood. The truth is, your body still craves connection. Your mind still wants to feel. But you have to allow them to work together rather than allowing them to compete. As you get older, every decision you make counts. Sometimes the most profound healing doesn't come from doing more, it comes from doing things differently. So, remember this: one small change, done with care, can reignite a part of you that has quietly been fading. You are not done feeling alive, not by a long shot. You just need to approach it differently. As we wrap everything up, I want to leave you with a final thought. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of so many. You care about your health. You care about your future. And that matters more than you might realize. Talking about something as personal as masturbation, especially after 65, isn't easy. It's rarely discussed in medical offices, rarely brought up in families, yet it impacts the vitality, the energy, and the emotional well-being of millions of older men. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. What we've covered here today isn't about guilt. It's about truth. The truth is, your body is changing. The old habits, the ones you've relied on for years, can start to work against you if they aren't adjusted with care. We've discussed how neglecting these physical changes can drain your strength without you even noticing. We've talked about how overindulgence without recovery can leave you feeling exhausted, rather than restored. We've addressed how rushing through intimacy disconnects you from your own body. And we've explored how poor timing can mess with your hormones and disrupt your sleep, turning something that should bring relief into an ongoing source of fatigue. Lastly, we've looked at the danger of relying solely on digital stimulation and how it rewires your brain and distances you from real human connection. But the silver lining is this: one small, mindful change can make all the difference. When you slow down, when you treat yourself with the care you deserve, you rediscover your ability to connect, to feel, to truly experience life again. Over the years, I've seen too many good men lose pieces of themselves, not because they didn't care, but because no one told them the truth. You deserve that truth. You still have the power to reclaim what's yours. Masturbation isn't the problem. The problem is when it becomes mindless, excessive, or disconnected. It becomes a way to numb, rather than nurture. And that's when it starts to take more than it gives. But it doesn't have to be that way. You still have control, and the choice is yours. If you've stayed with me through this video, I want to honor you for your openness, your courage, and your willingness to look inward. These conversations aren't always easy, but they are necessary. Because the truth is, your well-being, your connection, and your vitality are worth protecting. You deserve to feel alive, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and intimately. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What stood out to you the most in today's video? Was there a moment that resonated with your own experience? Please take a moment and comment below with one thing you've learned, and more importantly, one small change you're committed to bringing into your life starting today. Maybe it's slowing down. Maybe it's turning off the screen. Maybe it's simply being more present. Whatever it is, your words might inspire someone else to make a change too. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You never know whose life you might touch just by spreading this message. Until next time, take care of yourself, be kind to your body, and never forget, you are still very much alive.